Hi guys, let's welcome you guys all back to my channel, and today I am here with a massive wrap up. As always, we are going to stop and do a hair and lipstick check. Obviously, the wig that I'm wearing will be linked down below, and the lip that I'm wearing is actually Colored Rain in Tootsie. I know somebody's going to ask that later on. Yes, there is a makeup tutorial for this look that will be coming later on this month. We are mass recording today. So like I said, today I am here to talk about my August and September reads. I was looking through my videos last month, which weren't a lot because I was very busy. And it turns out that your girl never posted that video. And I went back to look at it and I realized I accidentally deleted a part of that clip. So for purposes of this, we're just going to start with the August reads. The first book that I read in the month of August is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. This is the second book in the Strange the Dreamer series. I think is it a duology? I think it's a duology. But like, if you guys remember, in the first book, I talked about how much I loved the antagonist of the story, which is Sarai's sister Minya. And I really thought that in this second book, I was going to get a lot of Minya. And I did get a lot of Minya, but not in the way that I was expecting. Minya kind of became the victim, if I can explain it that way. Minya has been through so much, and just everything about her character, about her drive, about how she was built as the antagonist is all derived from one particular scene in her life, which is obviously like the magical form of PTSD, if I really want to be honest. And I felt that it was like, holy mess, like this girl been through so much. I also want to point out that without giving spoilers, Laszlo is also a different character in this particular book. I felt that he was a little bit stronger, not just physically, but he didn't seem as much of a pushover as he did in the first one. Though, I'm still not gonna lie. It's like the whole Sarai-Laszlo relationship is just so weird to me, because it's clear neither one of them have ever experienced those type of emotions or feelings towards another person. And they somehow built this in a dream. So it's like, yeah, I'm not going to look too hard into that. The one thing I will say, ooh, excuse me, hold on. The humans of this particular story. Okay, so in the first book, it's revealed that before the gods were killed, these people in this town were taken away and basically made to produce the babies of these gods. Like, it's a really sick thing. So a lot of them are suffering in that way. And Sarai's dad is the god killer, basically. So in the second book, I found that it was a lot of people reconciling with their past. It was a lot of backstory. So there are other characters introduced that don't necessarily make a lot of sense, but they all come together at the end, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, so I guess we don't care about Minya anymore. Okay, all right, whatever. I don't care. But the way that Laini managed to tie everything together, I was like, oh wow, like, cool. I honestly prefer Strange the Dreamer more. And I think it was my expectations with Minya. I felt like they took the easy way. The book took the easy way of dealing with an antagonist like Minya by doing one thing. And I don't want to reveal that, but I would love to know your thoughts. If you did read this series, what do you think? I didn't think it was a bad series. I feel like if they came out with another book with the way that this one ended, I would be intrigued to read it. The next book that I read was Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This was a seat at the book table book club pick of the month, and it was a contemporary book that read basically like a rom-com, if I can be honest. It focuses on the story of one boy named Jack, who sounds like the biggest sweetheart, who probably is really fine but doesn't realize he's fine. He meets a girl named Kate, and obviously this is a teenage love story, but Kate dies. and I'm not spoiling anything for you. This is literally in the summary. And he ends up replaying this particular loop over and over again, trying to save her. But what he doesn't realize is that each time he goes through this loop, that his actions don't just affect him and Kate, they affect everybody in his life. So he's going through trying to figure out like how to save everybody, essentially. And I like the premise of the story because technically the loop thing has been done before. But in my personal opinion, I don't think it's been done this way because Jack and Kate are black, first of all, which was very interesting because it was a very subtle thing. It was like, wow, look, like Jack and Kate. Gotcha. The only thing I will say is that the ending left me laughing. Like as I was reading it, I was genuinely cracking up. Like, get out of here. We just went 0 to 100. Like, stop it. And I thought it was a very cute read. I'm not a big lovey-dovey contemporary read person. And it's funny because I read this one and now I need to read The Stars Between Us. I think that's what I need to read next. And I think it's got the same kind of premise where, except instead of a boy and a girl meeting, it's 2 girls meeting and they like fall for each other, but one of them gets sick. So I'm kind of tired of this trope, but I'm trying to support all these new black authors that have been coming out. And so I got to read it. It's just what it is. The next book that I read is Traitor to the Throne. That is by Alan Hamilton. That is the second book in the Rebel in the Sands series. I know I'm super late on this series, and that's totally fine. I lost interest about halfway through this book. So the first book, Rebel in the Sands, I was like, okay, all right, Amani, we're good. We can figure this out. Second book, I felt like it fell into that whole thing where the second book is only there to build you up to the finale kind of thing. And I believe that this book fell into that same category. I felt that there wasn't enough happening. You would get like 1 or 2 pages of intensity and then everything would just be really flat for like 4 chapters and then everything would jump up crazy. And by the end of the book, I was just kind of like, I really don't care. Like, are y'all gonna get caught or not? Like, so I don't know if I'm going to continue the series. I actually think that I'm going to donate this series and not even finish the 3rd book. But I guess we'll talk more about that when I finally unhaul things off my bookshelf. The next book that I read is The Rise of Kyoshi by F.C. Lee. This is from the Avatar: The Last Airbender series that I absolutely love. This is a novel, by the way, not a graphic novel, a regular novel. Like when I got it from the library, this was this thick. It was at least 400 something pages. It focuses on the story of Kyoshi, who, for those who have never watched The Last Airbender, which houseway, she is let's see. So she's the earthbender that came before Aang in the line of avatars. And her story is so interesting. The way that they even found out that Kyoshi was the Avatar is just insane. I highly recommend this book. If you love the Avatar series and you love that they keep progressing it, I still hate how they did Korra. I will forever rant about how they did Korra. But I felt like for Kyoshi, I don't really know what the writers of The Last Airbender are doing. I don't know if it's pandering. I don't know if it's genuine. I really don't. But there is a lesbian relationship. There is a love between 2 girls, but I'm not going to say that it fully manifested into anything. I feel like it was just one of those like mentioned things. I don't feel like it was done as bad as it was with Korra. Where with Korra, I genuinely feel like her and Asami should have just been best girlfriends and just kicking butt together as friends, not needing to make their relationship more, because Korra cannot handle being in a love relationship and being the Avatar. Like, I've said this a million times, but I felt like with Kyoshi, she couldn't necessarily catch a break in that particular category. I think she was actually bisexual. And you would think that was like, oh, this is going to be like the main point of the story, because, females can't obviously love and be a bad person. Nope. Kyoshi was very direction. Her and Aang, to me, kind of shared the same kind of idea where, like, yeah, they were crushing on people, but like their obligation to being the Avatar was far more important, which is like the total opposite of Korra. So to me, I felt like the people that she loved in this story, like they were a part of the story. They weren't just thrown in as like a ha gay. It was legit like a part of the story. The people in her life mattered. You could obviously tell there was something between them from the very beginning. It wasn't just a random change in the story. I highly recommend this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I most enjoy the fact that now on YouTube, one of my favorite YouTubers that breaks down a lot of the Avatar things, he like went into like a full breakdown from the book, like with animations and stuff. If I remember, I'll leave a link down to him. If you don't feel like reading it, you can watch his video. So that was all the books that I read in August, which was only 4 books. It was not a lot. And we're just going to jump right into September because this is going to be a very long video. I can feel it. So for the month of September, obviously this is the beginning of fantasy book releases for me. So I'm about to, y'all just know the majority of my TBRs from now until January will be heavily fantasy. I probably will not be branching off to contemporary at all because so many books that I've been dying to read are coming out in the next couple of months. I'm just prefacing that with you right now. I'm probably going to remind you of that because, girl, first off, we have 5 Dark Fates by Kendare Blake. I'm going to actually do a whole video about everything that I feel about this book. But for those who still don't know or haven't been watching my book videos, I'm obsessed with the 3 Dark Crowns series. I think the 3 Dark Crowns series is one of my favorite new fantasy series of the new millennium. It is the same way that I loved Caraval series. I love the 3 Dark Crowns series way more than that. I enjoyed every single bit of this series. I am so sad that this series is over. It put me through such an emotional roller coaster moment. This book smacks you in the face because we've had 4 books and 2 novellas before. Yeah, it's 4 books and 2 novellas before this. So basically everything comes to a halt here. But I will tell you, it starts off kind of slow, as if it's kind of trying to remind you of where everybody is mentally, which is fine because it jumps and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like the last, I think 150 pages. Wait, no, I have it still marked. Okay, so 338, and then there's 443 pages. So on page 338, like I left the tab there because I literally read the rest of that sitting in that one sitting. I couldn't stop. I needed to know things got real. I do have questions about the series, and I am going to talk about that in another video because if I do that here, it will be entirely too long and your girl is just like, I don't even want to get there. Plus, this look is inspired by this book and this cover. So for those who have been waiting to figure it out, this is where the inspiration came from. So yeah, I highly recommend this series if you have not read it yet. I will buddy read with you guys all over again with this series because I actually need to go back and read it and see if I missed something because I feel like I missed something. But I do need to go back and reread the whole series. But I am buying all of these. I have the first one and the last one and the Queens of Finburn novellas. So I need to get the other 2. The next book that I read was actually via audiobook, and that was Archenemies by Marissa Meyers. This is the 2nd book in the Renegade series, and I can officially say Marissa Meyers is one of my favorite authors, obviously in this kind of genre. I think she does a really good job with just telling these stories. To me, the stories of the Renegades is a very cliche story. There's a outsider who pretends to be a superhero to get inside the superheroes, and she wants to overthrow them because she feels like they're too powerful. You know, it's the same cliche story. But I really like Nova, and I really, really like the Renegades that she fights with. And oh my gosh, what is his name? Her love interest, like he is actually like a genuinely good character. And the funny thing is, I think Nova is actually a really good character too. But the way that the story ended, I'm pretty much gung-ho ready because I think Supernova comes out next month. So obviously that's going on my TBR at some point because I do want to know, I want to know how the secrets are revealed. There's been so many secrets revealed to us, but not to the other characters. So I really want to see how Marissa takes this, and she reveals everything. Like, obviously everything is going to come to a head, but I want to see like what's going to happen. Like, are the Renegades going to get overthrown? Are they going to figure out Nova is Nightmare too late? Like, what is going to happen? What's going to happen to Dana? So many questions. And I got to stop talking because I realized I almost just gave massive spoilers. So if you have not read the Renegade series and you want a good audiobook, I highly recommend this audiobook. I like it. It's a two-person, from two different standpoints. So you get two different voices. It's definitely on Hoopla. Help yourself. So the Throwback-a-thon has also ended, which was so great. Thank you guys so much for those who participated. I didn't read a lot of books for that particular thing, and that's because my library did not come through. I think I'm still on the waiting list for like 3 of the books that I wanted to read, and by the time I get them, obviously it's over. So I actually read The Truth About Stacy, and that is book 2 from the Babysitters Club. However, why ain't nobody tell me that the Babysitters Club also comes in graphic novel form? So I didn't know that, and I just ordered from the library. So when I got home and I opened it, I was like, graphic novel? I don't know. I feel like I did not get my full nostalgia from it because it was graphic novel. And Oshi Reads actually found a link that you could buy like the whole Babysitters Club set, and I think it's only like $35. So I'm not gonna buy it right now because I only have one bookshelf over here and she's full. Like, she's full. But I feel like it's all good because it was still nice to read. It was like, oh my god, I loved the Babysitters Club. I was so freaking obsessed. The next book that I read was I Thought My Soul Would Rise and Fly by Joyce Hansen. This is one of the Dear America books. I don't know what I did with it, but it's the purple one. And I forgot how much I loved these books. Like, I have a bunch of them on the bottom shelf over here, and I feel like I could really just sit here and just read them. They're such quick reads now that I'm older. But I remember when I got them when I was younger, like how advanced I thought I was, first of all. And like, if you've never read that story, it's a story about a black girl back in the day when she's a slave and like she was hiding but also trying to take care of her kids, and like, it's just such a good story. Like, if you've never read it, I still recommend it. The next thing that I read is the graphic novel, and that is The Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Volume 1 by Nako Takeuchi. I think I said your name wrong. Oops. But yeah, so rereading the manga that is the original Sailor Moon cracks me up. God, it was so, like, you think the rewatching Sailor Moon on Hulu is bad? Go pick up the manga. It's just as bad, if not worse. But the one thing I will say, in the manga, like, Tuxedo Mask is only 16 in the manga when Usagi is 14. So it doesn't seem, it's not a pedo moment. So I'm like, well, at what point in the Sailor Moon series did Mamoru come back as a 22-year-old hitting on a 14-year-old? Like, when did they change it to turn into a pedo moment? Like, I feel like I need to know now, because in this one he's only in high school, and I'm like, I gotta go back and watch the Hulu series because I could have sworn homie was in college kissing Usagi, and I was like, 22, 14, 22, 4. I couldn't get past it. So now I feel like I need to go back and watch it just to see, because I got questions. The last book that I read in the month of September is The Devil's Thief by Lisa Maxwell. This is the second book in the Last Magician series, and I really, really enjoy this series. Obviously, it still focuses on Esta, who is the time-traveling thief, where she has met Hart, the magician, who has, and she had to get close to him to find the book. Well, all of that stuff went down in the first book, and she is left with basically the aftershock, where she learned the truth about everything that was happening, how her role has played in it. She figured out who her parents were. Everything just came colliding. And so now that has happened, she has to fight to save the future, basically. And the way that she's doing that is with Hart, and how do I do this? They have to find what was taken. And honestly, I was a little confused. This story is not just Hart and Esta this time. You hear, it's a time travel. How do I do this? So it's 1902 and 1904. And you have to remember that because this is telling, 1902 tells you what happens right after book two, right after book one. 1904 is what's happening while this other part is happening. So they're 2 years apart, like at the same time. So you hear from Esta and Hart in 1904. Sorry, that is kind of a spoiler. But in 1902, you hear from Sella, John Yu, Viola, Jack Grew, Nibsy. Yeah, you hear from 5 different story plots, 5 different characters. It is insane. And you find yourself trying to have to keep up. So like I would get invested, say what Esta and Hart are doing, right? And then it would just switch to the next chapter and it would have this weird chapter title, which made no sense. And then it would be like New York, 1902. It doesn't tell you which character you're on. It just goes right into their story. So you have to kind of like switch your mind back and remember what was happening in everybody's story. It's like, oh yeah, John Yu is here. And then it's like, oh, well, this part's about Viola. Oh, Viola's with such and such. Oh, you also hear from a girl named Ruby. So yeah, it's 6 characters in 1902. After, like, it was hard to get used to, but I feel like it had to do it that way to tell you everything that was happening. And it was just a lot. I felt like Lisa did the best that she could. It was just so many characters to keep up with because all of them had their story being told from their point of view. So it was just like, holy crap. I got it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just that I felt like it was a lot. I felt like it was too many characters to keep up with. Whereas before you would hear their story told from the viewpoint of like Esta, but now you're hearing all 6 of these people telling what's happening from their view. It was a lot. Okay, guys, so that is the massively long reads for August and September. Thank you guys so much for keeping with me. If you're here at the end, don't forget to like this video, and until the next time, guys, bye.